Hey, welcome to Learning with Lynn. Today is Sunday, September 22nd. I am Lynn Huber.
And I'm Richard.
And this is Richard. So thank you for being here with us today. We have a new platform. We're still learning, so be patient with us. Hey, Lily, you found us. Good to see you. So let me see. I'm going to move some things around, and then we'll get started here. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, boom. So now I'm sharing my screen. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you. Good to see you. So today we're going to talk about you need massive action to achieve your goals. So we are on my blog, onlinebeautybiz.com. And if you go down to the search, you can search for pretty much anything you want. We're going to search for massive action. And if you ever need to know how to do something, you just go to the search. It's on the right-hand side right here. Or if you're on your phone, it will be all the way at the bottom of the posts, because there's usually on the front page, there's I think 6 posts, and it will be at the bottom. You'll see all of this, the sign up to receive our newsletter, and then the search. So this is the one we're on. Lily, I forgot my time zone. Well, you're here though, and you're here right on time. So that's good. So, obviously, your Avon business is personal, and it's up to you what you want to do with it. And, if you're just looking to make a little bit of money, then it's totally okay to put a little bit of time in it. If you're looking to make a lot of money, then it's going to require massive action. And I assume if you're following me on these online beauty biz trainings, that you're looking to make money, right? Make a lot of money, I assume. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Good to see you. So, the one good thing about it is that to be really, really successful, it's going to require massive action, the kind of action that most people are not willing to do to get the job done. And that's actually good news, because that means there's less competition for you to become a top representative. The higher up you go in Avon leadership, in Avon sales, the less competition you have, because you start to leave the people behind who are just playing with their business, or who are just looking for a little bit of extra money, because they're not competing with you, right? And as you move up, as you become President's Club, and then Honor Society, and then McConnell Club, you're like the playing field is a lot smaller that you're competing with to get to the top of the company. And so it's really easy to say, let's take massive action, but do you really know what massive action is? So I'm just looking to make sure that what you're seeing is what I hope you're seeing. So massive action is doing far more than the average person would do under the same conditions. So it means that you're going to go farther than anyone else would typically expect of you, or anyone else. If you have that job mentality of putting in your 8 hours a day, that's not going to work in your Avon business. That's not going to work to make you the top. You can totally build a pretty decent Avon business with that attitude. I mean, don't get me wrong. It depends on what you consider decent. When Lisa Wilbur, she's the number 4 money earner in the company, I believe. I think that changes. So she's somewhere right around there, number 3, number 4, number 5, right in there. But and she makes really good money. When she first decided that she was going to do Avon, she set a goal that she was going to get to the top level, and she was not going to turn her eyes one way or the other. She was going to put blinders on, and she was going to go straight for the top of the company. And then once she got to the top of the company, then she would decide if it was worth it. And that's actually really smart thinking, because if you ever want to get to hi Penny, good to see you. If you want to get to the top of the company, that's what it takes. And so many people, they think, oh, I worked hard for a week or 2 weeks or a month, and then they slacked off. And you know what? That just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen that way. I have people on my team who work hard to earn an incentive, and then they go on the incentive and they come home and they get comfortable. And, that's not going to get you to the top. And so you really want to be, your goal is to get to the top, right? It's not to be average, right? So if you don't want to be average, and you just want to, don't want to be what an average Avon rep is, you have to put in the effort. So taking action means taking full ownership of your business, all of the problems, the mistakes, the failures, and doing everything you can to rectify them. And let me tell you, I don't want to go off too far on a tangent, but I read in a post today on Facebook in one of the groups, people are complaining about shorts and outages. And yes, there have been some shorts and outages, and they hurt me and Richard, just like they hurt you guys. But taking massive action is taking full ownership of your business. That means you don't get to say that your business isn't successful because Avon is out of stock. That you don't get to do that, not if you want to be a top seller. You get to say, okay, they're out of stock. How can I go around that? How can I make my business successful anyway? That's what your attitude needs to be. And complaining about Avon being out of stock, that doesn't help you sell more, does it? Does it really help you sell more? Does it help you make more money? I don't think so. So the question is, if that didn't go my way, if Avon was out of stock on what I wanted, hey Denise, good to see you. But if Avon was out of stock on something I wanted, and you know what, that just happened to me. I just lost about $150 in sales because Avon was out of stock. So what does that mean? That means I need to go out and get more sales. I need to go out and get $300 worth of sales. And then I'm 300, and then I'm 150 ahead, right? I take responsibility for my business. So anyway, massive action is something you do consistently and persistently with progressively increased levels of activity. So you're working hard and you just keep working harder and harder and harder. And so when you do this, you're going to distinguish yourself from others. You're going to build momentum. The momentum is so critical to our business. The momentum is what it's all about. Because once you get going, you know, it's just like you push a car up a hill. You push, and Richard's helping me push, and oh, we're so tired and we can't get it to move, and oh, you're struggling and you're struggling and you're struggling, and finally you get to the top of the hill, and what happens? The car just takes off the other side of the hill. Because now it's in momentum. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It's going to go no matter what. And that's what's going to take for you to be successful in your business, is to find that momentum, to keep going. Give it that consistent action, pushing and pushing and pushing until you get to the point where momentum takes over. And trust me, it will happen. Whether you're just looking in sales, whether you're looking for recruiting. You know, I don't know where the magic number is. I have about 250 people on my team right now, and I'm not in momentum with my team. Being really honest here, I'm not in momentum. Before I walked away from Avon 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever it was, I had a $1.9 million business and my team was in momentum. And I had about 650 people on my team. So I think the magic number is about 300 to 400, maybe 500 people. When you get that many on your team, then your team gets a life of its own, because people on your team are all working. They all have goals, and they're all working towards those goals. And then your team starts taking off. But you have to work to get it to that point. It doesn't happen overnight. It seriously does take massive action. And even once you're in momentum, you can't slow down, because if you stop or slow down, your team's going to stop and slow down, because you're the one that sets the pace for your team. So it's all about being consistent and persistent. And then so to take massive action means constantly expecting more from yourself in every situation. You're going to be setting challenging and sometimes unrealistic goals that are aligned with your ultimate goal and the vision you have of your Avon business. I'm a strong believer in unrealistic goals. A lot of people say you should never, they talk about SMART goals, that they need to be measurable and they need to be specific and they need to be achievable. And I believe in that, I really do. But I also believe, especially, it needs to be specific and measurable. But I think in some it needs to be somewhat unrealistic, because if you set a goal to increase by 25%, you might increase by 25%. If you meet your goal, you might increase by 25%. But if you set a goal to increase by 50%, you might end up increasing by 30 or 40%. Isn't that a much better place to be than if you would have set a reasonable goal? It's all about the stretch. So you're looking funny like you're going to say something. Do you want to say something?
No.
Okay, so when you take massive action, you're going to naturally expand your knowledge and your awareness and your understanding and your experience and your influence, and more opportunities are going to come your way because you're in a position to accept them. That is what's so amazing about it. Taking massive action actually naturally brings you more luck because you are in a position to be able to see it when it comes your way. Because luck is really no more than just being prepared and being ready for it. If the right thing comes your way and you're not in a position to be able to see it, then it's going to go right past you and you're not going to be lucky, right? But if you see it and you grab it and you take a hold of it and you make it to your advantage, then now you can say you were lucky. So taking massive action essentially comes down to two key factors. So the first one is your ability to think big. You need big dreams and goals. So where are you going with your Avon business? I know where I'm going. I'm going to platinum. And I would like to be President's Counsel as far as sales goes. And I would like most of that to be online. That's my goals. I'm going, am I going to do it this year? No. Am I going to do it next year? Probably not. You never know, but probably not. But my goal, that's my big goal, and that's what I'm working for every single day, is to get there as fast as I can. And so thinking big is something that many people do, but they're not always successful because they're missing the second piece, which is the ability to follow through and take that massive action that's required. So anybody can think big, but unless you're doing the actions, it's not going to happen. So then the price of success, there's always a price for success. And we often hear about people who pay the price, but sometimes we're not sure what that means. And so it doesn't matter what goal you're going after. Every goal that you go after has a price. It has a toll on you in some way. It could be, there's cost associated somehow. Sometimes it's in the form of sacrifices. Sometimes it's in, you have to give up your TV, or you have to give up whatever it is, your bowling league or whatever it is, because you need that extra time to put into making your goal happen. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes you have to spend more money to, like, buying leads or placing ads or running or boosting posts on Facebook to get you more sales. So it's always, time or money, usually both. And if you are lacking one or the other, a lot of times you can make up for it by the other. So like when Richard and I first started, we didn't have time. We did not have time. We were both working 60, 70 hours a week, and we seriously had no time to work our business. So we put the time in where we could find it, and we dug hard and we found time. Don't get me wrong, but we also put money in to help balance that of not being able to have time. So we ran ads. Instead of actually physically going out talking to as many people as we would have liked to, we ran ads to get more people coming to us. And so it's a balance kind of, but you can kind of, or if you don't have money for brochures, or you don't have money for ads, then you can spend the time. So, Avon offers a digital brochure link. That's a perfect example. I think it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about if you really dramatically want to increase your sales, it's about more brochures. It's about getting more brochures into more hands and getting more sales. If you can't afford the brochures, the digital brochure link is perfectly acceptable. But now it's going to take you more time to get it into that many people's hands, because you've got to get that link. Hey, Carla. Hi. But you got to get that link into their hands. So then now it takes more time. So it's a trade-off, money or time or both. It's going to take both, but you can balance it by putting more where you have more. So if you have more time to give, put it into your time. If you have less time and more money, then put more into your money, and it kind of balances that out so that you can pay the price for success, right? These are necessary sacrifices that you need to take into account before you even go after your goal. If you're not willing to make the necessary sacrifices, it's not likely you're going to get to the end of your goal. It's not like you're going to achieve it. And it takes an incredible amount of dedication, commitment, discipline, and effort to take that massive action towards a meaningful goal. Again, it's what you want. It's your goal. If you want to get to the top of the company, like me, I am going to be at Platinum, and I'm going to be President's Counsel, which is not the top of the company, but that's where I want to be. It's going to take major effort on my part. It's going to take more than just having a job. It's going to take me it's all about growing myself to be able to make more money. It's about growing my personal development. It's about getting my brochures and my links in front of more people. It's about talking to more people about selling Avon. It's about growing my team, getting my team to that critical mass moment where I have 400, 500, 600 people on my team, so that my team creates a life of its own and it continues to grow. That's what it's going to take. And then at some point, they say that it takes an awful lot of effort in the beginning of your business, and then later on in your business, it takes a whole lot less effort. So once your team meets that critical growth stage and your business is in momentum, then you don't have to work as hard. You just have to kind of keep your fingers on it. You just have to stay in touch with your business. But so where it became in the beginning, it was working a lot of hours. Later on, you're only working a couple hours a week. And that's how the top people are doing it. They're not putting a lot of effort into their business at this point, the ones that are making the big money. So once you've committed to your goal, it's critical to create a sense of urgency. With no urgency, it's so easy to put things off. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And you can always watch the replay for the first part. Anyway, with no urgency, it's so easy to put things off for another day or take your time. It's like things just don't happen. They don't happen as fast as they should. But if you have urgency, suddenly everything becomes time sensitive. You're working towards your goal with incredible zest and energy. And that's what it feels like to take massive action. It's a lot like an airplane taking off. Do you want to talk about that?
Right. I mean, yeah, airplane has a brilliant burst of speed to take off the runway. You don't want a taxi for 500 miles. You want to get going. So zoom, it just punches pedal to the metal, up in the air, and then it coasts from there, maintains the speed.
Yeah, it takes every bit of energy that the plane has to get it off the ground.
Yep.
It takes all the fuel, all the energy. It has to be firing on every cylinder. It takes full power to get off the ground, and then once you get up and you're level, then they pull back the throttle, and like Richard said, they're coasting pretty much at that point, right? That's how it's the same thing with our business. It's full pedal to the metal to take off and get to that point where we're in momentum, and then you can back off. Then you can, just keep your fingers on the pulse, just kind of stick in your business, but not have to put all of your effort into it. Okay, so you need to set yourself challenging deadlines and targets that you're working for every day. These deadlines are going to make you accountable for the actions that you take. So no longer are you simply working a task, thinking, oh, well, I got to get this done. No, instead, it's getting it done now. In fact, I have on my list of things to do, all of my removals and all of my reps the reps who have quit Avon, and all of my new reps who have started Avon but never got started. I have quite a few of those. And if you're in leadership, you know what I'm talking about. I am going to add them to my brochure text list, and I'm going to market to them just like a customer from now through the end of the year. And so hopefully they'll either come back to Avon, or they'll get busy and make that first order and become an active representative. But if not, maybe they'll become a customer, So that's on my list, and it's something I need to do right now. It's not something I can wait for until, oh gosh, I might get it done in November. We're heading into the fourth quarter. We're heading into the holidays, and so it's on my list of something that I need to do like as soon as possible this week. So that's what I'm talking about. Everything needs to be urgent. Everything needs to happen. It can't be, well, I think I'll do that in 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. You can have a great business. Don't get me wrong. If you're just looking to have an average Avon business, you can absolutely do that. If you're going for the top, then it's going to take the massive action. So, now, this massive action has to be something that keeps you up late at night and pulls you out of bed in the morning, right? It has to be something that you can't stop thinking about or dreaming about, and it's intrinsically connected with your life's purpose. I know Avon is that way for me and Richard, for both of us, since we, when we started Avon back in 2001, we both had great jobs. Richard was a store manager. I was director of marketing for a food distributor. We didn't need it. We didn't need Avon. We weren't looking for anything, but we kind of fell into an Avon business because I was looking for a way to help pay for a website I was building. And we didn't do anything really with it. We did average for the first year because it was meeting our needs. It was paying for the website. And that's all we were looking for. But then a year in, we went to a Home for the Holidays event in LA, and we got to see all the holiday products. But then Avon started asking in the Home for the Holidays, everybody who's advanced unit leader, stand up. And they recognized them. And then everybody who was executive unit leader, stand up. And they recognized them. And they went through all the levels. And those of you that are in, depending on how long you've been with Avon, I assume some of you anyway know what I'm talking about. So back then it was a unit leader, and then it was advanced unit leader, and then executive unit leader. So those were the levels. And so there was this girl that was in our district that was advanced unit leader, and she was older, and really I wasn't all that impressed with her as a leader. She wasn't my leader, but anyway, I was sitting next to the district manager when she stood up, and I just kind of leaned over to the district manager and I said, what does she make in a campaign? And the district manager says to me, oh, probably about 300 a campaign. And it's the funniest thing because, you know, the money I was making in my job, that was nothing. And the money Richard was making in his job, that was nothing. But somehow when she said that, I kind of went, 300 a campaign? I could blow that out of the water. I guess that's me, right? I guess I'm just, I never settle, right? I got to go for the top. But as I was driving home from that event with Richard, we were talking and I found out he was thinking the same thing. So that's when we decided to get serious about our business. And so we were working a lot of hours. I was commuting an hour and a half each way. And I know that sounds bad. I know that sounds like, well, when I was a kid, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow. I know that's what it sounds like. But seriously, I drove from Ventura to Goleta. Just north of Santa Barbara. If you know LA or if you know California at all, then you know that that's probably about an hour drive. But during rush hour, well, during morning and evening, no matter what time it was, because rush hour seemed to go for hours, it was an hour and a half. And some days it was even longer. So I literally drove an hour and a half each way. I did a lot in my car as far as personal development. I made some phone calls in the car, although I've never been big on talking on the phone in the car. That's something that's always bothered me because I feel like I need my full attention on the road. I did what I could on my lunch break. I didn't get home until sometimes 8 or 9 at night, or then I started trying to leave my work earlier. So I'd be home by 7 or 8 and I would make appointments to sign people up. Back then we had to meet face to face with someone to sign them up. So I'd make appointments usually at 8 o'clock. I'd try to group people together as much as I could. I mean, we sat outside of a Kmart on a Sunday afternoon every Sunday. We got permission from the manager. I couldn't sell, but I could pass out brochures and I could get contact information. And we sat out there every Sunday for about 3 hours. And that's how we build our business. That was the massive action for us because it was the only time we had. I mean, and then after I did my appointments in the evening, I'd come home and do emails or whatever. And I would be up until midnight or 1 o'clock. And we both had to be up at 4:30 in the morning. So, I mean, seriously, it was all the massive action we had to give. But you know what? 2 years after that, after we decided to get serious about it, I was able to quit my job. And then 2 years later, we retired Richard. So that's a total of 5 years. And we were debt free. Our house was paid off. Our cars were paid off. Credit card debt was all paid off. We were debt free and we were able to walk away from our jobs and do Avon full time. That's what I'm talking about. If you're willing to put in the effort, give it 3 to 5 years. If you're willing to put in the effort, you too can have a life like that. You too can walk away from your job or whatever it is you want to do. There are people in Avon that they're not looking to walk away from a job. They're looking to do some kind of work that they, relief work or volunteer work or, different things that they want to do maybe with the money. And so it's all according to what you want. But if you can put that massive action in and if you can give it 3 to 5 years, I promise you, you are not going to recognize your business. My friend Tina Beer, I'm sure she didn't come up with this, but she tells me this all the time. She says, most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and they underestimate what they can do in 5 years. And that is so true because people are in it, they're working hard for a year and they're not where they want to be and they get disillusioned and they quit. And that's the worst time to quit because you're just starting to get really going in a year. And like I said, 5 years from now, you're not even going to recognize your business. The people that are going to be top leaders in your company, you haven't even met yet. But you will, if you stick with it, you will meet them. I have some people that have just recently come into my business that I'm really excited about. I have people that have been in my business for a long time that I'm still excited about. And I have people that have been in my business for a long time that are just starting to step up. They're just starting to say, hey, I see what you're doing. Can I do that? And so, you know what? You just don't know. You've just got to keep working at it. So Sandy says traffic. Yeah, yeah, traffic. That's what I love now is I'm working on, the funniest thing, when we moved from California to Utah, I grew up in Utah. That's my hometown. We came here, we moved back here because my mom needed me, and Richard's mom had passed. And so there wasn't a real reason, at least for him, for family to need to stay there. And so we moved it back to Utah. And the thing that Richard was the most amazed by was that we can be at the airport in 5 minutes. We have traffic, don't get me wrong. We have traffic, but it is not LA. It is not like even Ventura to Santa Barbara. I mean, we have rush hour and we need to stay off the roads during rush hour. But aside from rush hour traffic, it's just 5 minutes to the airport. Like when we lived in Ventura, it was a minimum hour and a half, usually 3 to 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so that's all I really have. What questions do you have? What thoughts do you have about this? You don't have to do the massive action if you're not looking for what I have. If you're not looking to be able to walk away from your job and just do Avon full time, you don't have to do that kind of massive action. And there's levels. There's different levels of action based on what it is you want to accomplish and how quickly you want to accomplish it. But sometimes it's so funny. People get in their comfort zone. It's so easy to get in your comfort zone. We all do that. We are working along and we're moving along and we're building our business. And then one day we look back and we go, well, yeah, I've been working. I never quit working, but I wasn't working with the same drive that I was 6 months ago. And I can see the difference in my business because it's gone down. And I'm seeing that in a couple of team members right now. So it's not a good or a bad or right or wrong. It's just you've got to be aware of where you're at and you've got to hang on. You've got to keep that. You've got to get that plane off the ground before it's going to take off. And you've got to give it everything you have. And again, that everything you have is according to how much you have to give. You have to, you have to put that into perspective. When we were working and we had to build our business around our jobs, we only had so much time. And the key is though, is that you make the best use of that time that you have and you make sure that you're doing the right activities during that time. So let's see what we have. Carla says, that was great information. Massive action creates momentum that gets us to our goals. Absolutely, Carla. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. So, and Lily says, great information. I know that I can change the look of that. Let me try something. There we go. I like that better. So Lily says, great information. So let me see if anybody else has said anything that I might have missed. Okay. So, gosh, let me move this back here and I will come back to just us. There we go. So that's it. That's all we really have. So we will be back next week, the 29th, Sunday the 29th, same time, same place. And thank you guys for being here with us.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Put it into massive action, consistent work all the time. Just having your eye on the goal. It makes it happen. It's the old tortoise and the hare story. It really is.
Yeah, because the tortoise was consistent, right?
Yep. And the hare kept getting stopped and he'd stop and he'd have to start all over again.
Yeah. What was it that Jordan did that day in that meeting?
He had, we were at a meeting one time and Jordan Adler did this really great visual. He split the room in half and he said the side on the right, he said, when I say go, I want the person in the front row to turn around to the people behind them and tap two people on the shoulder. And then those people turn around and tap people on the shoulder. And I said, I want the left side to do the same thing. But the right side, when I say stop, you have to stop. And then when I say go, you can start again. The left side, ignore everything I say and just go. When I say go, you start tapping people on shoulders and see how fast we can go through the room. And he did it it was a good sized room that we were in. There were about 1,000 people in this room. And he did it for about 30 seconds was all. And the left side finished and went all the way through their 500 people in 30 seconds. And the right side, they had to stop and start. they're only about 200 people into the room. They're about a quarter, a third of the way through.
A quarter.
And it's just amazing. When you stop your business, everything stops. It's like pushing a car up a hill. If you stop and let go, the car's going to roll back down.
Yeah.
And then you have to start pushing it from get-go all over again. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
It's true. You got to be consistent, and you got to keep going, and just put your blinders on and don't look left or right. And don't allow yourself to second guess your business. Just keep going until you get there, until you get to like what Lisa Wilbur said. And she said, I was not going to stop until it wasn't platinum then. It was called senior executive unit leader back then. Mm-hmm. But she said, I wasn't going to stop until I got to that level. And then I would look back and say, is it worth it? And because until you get there, you don't know. And so you just can't second guess yourself. You just need to put your blinders on and keep going. Anyway, Rhonda, thanks for coming in. Good to see you. And we'll see you guys next Sunday. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.